Jordan Weber has it, leading the field heading into tonight when she could become champion of the United States for the first time. But guess what? She is not the one everyone is talking about. The road to Olympic history in London begins tonight. For Shawn Johnson, Chelsea Memel, and Alicia Sacramone, it means trying to earn a do-over. It's been 3 years since the Beijing Olympics, and for Alicia Sacramone, the memory weighs heavily.
On the balance beam, that's where everything went wrong. The Chinese and the U.S. were battling neck and neck. She cost the team the gold medal.
I think pissed off is an understatement. I was just so mad at myself because I knew I could do better than that.
Alicia walked away from gymnastics. Now she walks back. For Chelsea Memel, her Olympic dreams were over before they could even begin. The team depended on her for all 4 events, but 2 days after arriving, she suffered a broken ankle. Competing on bars was all she could manage. At 20, she said the Beijing Olympics would be her last. Things have changed.
I wasn't able to contribute as much as I wanted. That was really disappointing to me. So I decided to just take a break.
In Beijing, the gold medal seemed like destiny for Shawn Johnson. But in the end, the only gold around her neck was earned on the balance beam.
I had trained my whole life for the all-around. I wanted it quite a bit. It's what I lived for.
She will never say her performance in Beijing was a disappointment, but it wasn't the result she had dreamed of. They each had to leave the sport to realize just how much they truly loved it. But love can only carry you so far. Now they're all back, and that is never easy. There are others who believe that that was their time and that this is theirs. Tonight, a national champion is crowned, and London becomes one step closer. Sports presents live coverage of the 2011 Women's Visa Championships. St. Paul, Minnesota could tonight be comeback city as we welcome you to the home of the NHL's Minnesota Wild, the XL Center in downtown St. Paul, the capital of the state. Al Trowig along with Tim Daggett, Elfie Schlegel, and Andrea Joyce. And Tim, let's start with Shawn Johnson. What's on the line for her tonight, and what have you seen so far?
Well, a heck of a lot. You know, the qualifying meet for these national championships was a competition called the CoverGirl Classic, and she actually looked very nervy there. She admitted that she was really, at times, scared, but she has looked much better. Day one was pretty darn good, and today, so far in the warm-ups, she has looked a lot like the old tough Shawn Johnson.
Competing on a surgically repaired knee. Now, Elfie, what about Alicia Sacramone?
Well, it's legit, that's for sure. And Alicia's comeback started well over a year ago. She said she really needed that time. She couldn't even imagine coming back this year. She needed the full 2 years. She has proven herself. Her gymnastics is big, and I'll tell you what, she is in the best shape ever.
How important is the Olympics to her? It's tattooed on the back of her neck. Then you have Chelsea Memel, the only one of the 3 that's competing in all 4 events.
And, you know, her comeback, you know, it was so different than Shawn Johnson. She had no announcement, no media days. It was all quiet. She said, all I need is to be in the gym and to get this job done.
Good, hold it!
At the top of the board, though, we said it's 16-year-old Jordan Weber from Michigan, the daughter of 2 very athletic parents, and she's got a very significant 1.85 lead over Massachusetts native Alexandra Raisman. And then there's Chelsea Memel flirting with the podium, perhaps 2.5 back. Rebecca Bross, the defending national champion, had some stumbles on the balance beam that we'll get a chance to recap in a moment. But we're going to start things off by talking about Jordan Weber, who amazingly, at the age of 16, has already won the most prestigious American international event, the American Cup, twice.
Yeah, the last one, she actually defeated the reigning world champion, Mustafina, from Russia. So this kid has some credentials. She won that meet the first time when she was just 13 years old as a junior.
as far as the Olympics go, Elfie, and that's everything in this world. She's at a pretty good age for that.
Absolutely. And Jordan, you have to think she's a shoo-in, but, you know, we're still a year out to the Olympic Games, and there's a lot of gymnastics down the road, but this is one young lady who could very well be the leader of that team.
So a lot of stories here. How they intersect is anyone's guess, but the first major thing is going to come out of this competition, and that will be a selection of the team that will represent the United States in October at the World Championships in Tokyo.
And, you know, really, for that selection, unless Jordan Weber has an injury, a sickness, that she's going to be on that team. There's no question about it. She is strong on all of the events, all 4 of them, and really has, in my opinion, she's already earned that. As long as things don't go wrong, she's not just playing for an airline ticket. She's, in my opinion, playing for a world championship all-around medal.
And she was the absolute best on this apparatus on night 1.
That was a great start.
Fantastic.
For Jordan Weber. Wow.
She actually looked like she was enjoying herself.
Yeah, she did.
That's the nice part about it. She has an amazing look on her face. Not only the difficulty, it's there, but she just looks like she's having a great time. She's into the exercise.
Coach, we just saw right there, John Geddard said that she is in tremendous shape. She said she looks like a piece of chiseled steel.
From Needham, Massachusetts, 17-year-old Alexandra Raisman. She's in 2nd place right now. She just saw that happen right in front of her. She's just a few feet away at the takeoff for the vault.
And Allie's a rock. What she does so well is she is consistent. Marta loves that quality about her.
And that was great. That was great. She's actually capable of doing a harder vault, adding a half twist to it, but that's about as clean a vault as you can see, and a great landing on it.
And I think the decision was made back on night 1. They didn't want to risk any injury. She had been having a little bit of a problem on the landing, and they just decided, hey, let's get through this one. Keep it safe.
Weber's floor exercise at 15.0, and so far it's only 2 routines, but what a difference from night 1.
Unbelievable. Yeah, night 1, it was all over the place, very messy, lots and lots of falls. Probably the worst Visa Championships I've ever seen, and so far, 2 up and out of the blocks. Great routines.
Check in on the uneven bars, and here's a unique young lady. She's 23, one of UCLA's best. And she's trying to really gain her first major spot for international exposure. Anna Lee.
And she has a very good shot, and it is really 100% about this piece of apparatus. Doesn't matter what else she does. She's only going to do the balance beam, but she earns a ticket to the world because she is so great on the uneven bars. Beautiful transition.
And this is one of the events where the United States is a little bit weak.
And that is a very big error. And what it's going to come into play here is endurance, because her routine is so long. And now she's added a few different skills.
Fought through.
Well, that was good. That was really good, but it wasn't great. I think she could have done herself a real solid if she was able to go 2 in a row, night 1 and night 2 on bars.
Now Rebecca Bras from the same gym in Plano, Texas that gave us the last 2 Olympic gold medalists, but Rebecca Bras, the reigning national champion, had some problems on night 1.
Yeah, actually 2 problems. That was the first one, totally unexpected. And right here on the dismount.
That one wasn't unexpected, though. We've been here watching her all week long in St. Paul, and she has really had a tough time with that. Just a couple moments ago, though, she looked good on the dismount. We did see her fall on one of her skills in the timed warm-up just moments ago.
Well, she's going to leap her way right up on the balance beam and get things started right off the top. Big test coming up. First major skill.
And this is where she fell in the warm-ups, right here. Oh, that right foot was 7/8 off the balance beam.
I think it's important to note that Rebecca has not competed in a competition since last year's World Championships.
And you know, she had a broken bone in her foot at those World Championships. She had that the entire time. And she came home with 4 world medals. This is about as tough of a kid as you're ever going to see. This has been tricky all week for her as well. Dead on.
She is on, you know, the day after the first night of competition, after those falls, she was back in the gym training full sets on this apparatus, and she didn't miss. It's paying off.
This has been the challenge all week.
Oh, and it continues to be.
But you know what? That one was better. She had a little bit more height. She kind of kicked out her body a little bit sooner on that. And
blind landing. It's a tough landing.
What she's been doing all week long is landing in these big, deep squats, and they're scary. And that one, she kind of went the other way. Coach Larry Lukin, of course, coach and dad of Olympic all-around champion Nastia Lukin.
And you know, Rebecca is really tough on herself.
Watch her right foot. Look at that. It's almost completely off the beam.
It's like, no way, not tonight.
That's called strong toes.
And Tim, how many of these have we watched her do all week long?
Look at the landing, though. She really just locks those legs out when she lands, and it pushes her hips backwards, and that's disappointing.
So damage control again for Rebecca Bras. Allie Raisman got a 15.1 for her vault. Anna Lee way down to 14.4. Now that's not going to get it done. Here's Michaela Maroney, who lives in beautiful Laguna Niguel, California. Making the World Championship team would be a career first and a huge deal.
And where she makes this team is on this event right here. Her vault, we just saw Allie Raisman do a vault that has a maximum score of a 15.8. Now everybody all over the world is chasing what they call the Amanar after a great Romanian gymnast, and that vault has a maximum score of 16.5. Most teams in the world don't even have one athlete that are capable of doing it. This young lady, not just capable of doing that vault, but in my opinion, I've never seen anybody do it better than she does.
I was going to say Aliyah Mustafina from Russia, who won the World Championships last year, set the stage. That's the vault she's performing.
Gosh, she does it better, though.
Absolutely. I have never seen such great consistency like from her.
Rebecca Bras, 14.35. Now the podium's in jeopardy.
What she does so well is she makes perfect contact with the table, and she rebounds off of it. fantastic. Coach Arthur Akopian, one of the greatest vaulters of all time, a world champion himself for the Soviet Union. He's got to say, I used to be able to do that.
But it's the form, the execution. Look how straight she is. Look how clean this vault is. And the most important thing, we always talk about the landing. That's a huge vault.
Yeah, there is nobody in the world right now that does that vault. Just watch her legs. See them pace together. It gets a little bit messy when everybody else is doing this, but not this one. And look at that. Right on that line is exactly where she wants to be.
To the uneven bars. And this we know, the Kwakwado gymnastics DNA is powerful stuff. As Bridget follows in her sister Mackenzie's career. Mackenzie was with the U.S. World Championship team last year that won silver. She goes to Florida. Bridget wants to be on the World Championship team, and guess what?
She wants to go to Florida.
Also.
Well, she has a huge bar set, one of the top start values in this competition. 3 big release skills we're looking for.
Very nice. She's great, but she battles. And, oh, wow.
Oh,
she doesn't have her hand. Her grip was caught on the bar.
This bar routine is so fantastic, but she cannot put it together.
This is a bit of a disaster here. Very close on that release. What happened was the bottom of her grip, not even on her hand, but on her wrist, was caught on the bar.
Such a shame, isn't it?
Had to take an extra swing, and then after that, she does a couple extra things that were not in the plan.
7th coming in. That's not going to help that, but they are not going to throw a lot of 16s around tonight. Michaela Maroney, 16.
Well deserved.
That is gigantic.
The way the draw has been set up, we still haven't seen Alicia Sacramone. We haven't seen Shawn Johnson. We haven't seen Chelsea Memel. That all changes next when we come back live to St. Paul, Minnesota and the Visa Championships. Back live in St. Paul, Minnesota at the Xcel Energy Center. We're about to see Alicia Sacramone, then Chelsea Memel, then Shawn Johnson. And Alicia Sacramone's got 2 vaults up her sleeve today, so to speak.
The reason that Alicia is doing 2 vaults is because at a major championships like a world or an Olympic Games, you have to show both of those vaults. As you see the Olympic rings, to win an Olympic medal on vaulting, you have to do 2 vaults, and they have to be from different families. That means they have to be different. One of them, she's going to do what's called a round off onto the board. That'll be the second one. And the first one, she'll jump over facing forwards.
And she is all about power.
That's a great vault. It's a great vault, and you know what? That looked closer to me to a stick. It just really looked like she was going to get that one and then had to take that step back.
And she is not going to compete on the uneven bars. Where then does she fit in the USA plans going forward?
Oh, she fits in extremely well because she just won the worlds on vaulting, so she's a huge asset there. She's also a veteran of the sport. Yeah, she had some struggles at the Olympic Games, but a year before, in 2007, she was actually the person that rallied the troops going into the last event the Chinese had done floor exercise. And she got the group together and said, we can do this. And they ended up on top.
And since the Classic, Alicia has added floor exercise. She says, I'm just going to better my chances having 3 events. Marta knows she can rely on me. Anytime I get the call, I'm ready to go.
First vault, 15.8. That's very, very good. She's got a very cool personality. If you're having a party, she probably gets invited.
You got to put her vault number up there.
She had to do it.
A very, very good score.
And 9.5 for the execution. That's key. If she can stick it, that'll go up.
So this one is that half turn onto the board, Yurchenko style. Oh! That was a little bit low for her. Typically does that vault with a surplus of power. A little bit under-rotated on that. Coach Mihai Brestjan goes over some of the finer details, but just doesn't get as big of a block or a jump off of her arms right there. And I really think she was trying to stick these vaults. She's usually over on both of them and trying to come in with a better body position and not take that step. That's really the only thing that Alicia needs to get a little bit more consistent on.
And of course, she'll incur some deductions, stepping over the line, her chest being low to the ground, but she has the vaults.
And you know, the important thing is the vault that will get her on the team is different than the vault that'll win her a medal. The vault that gets her on the team is the first vault. They're not even going to look at that one to get her on the team.
So that's our look at Alicia Sacramone. In a few minutes, we will see Shawn Johnson. She's coming back from a knee that included ACL reconstruction. Those are dirty words for any athlete. Sacramone's second vault was a 14.4. And just like Alicia Sacramone, Chelsea Memmel's been on the scene for more than a decade. Still coached by her dad. Remember when she did that last event in Beijing? We all said that's it. That's what she said.
Well, that's what she said too. You know,
Been away from competition for 3 years. 3 years. She put on a clinic the other day. She has mental toughness like no other. It's just absolutely incredible because you cannot teach someone to compete the way that Chelsea Memmel competes.
All you need to know is she gave what she could in those Olympic Games on a broken foot.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to say it all day long. She is about as tough as you can get, and she's not just doing 2 routines. She is doing the all-around. She came into this competition in 3rd place in the all-around.
And she's not even at her best yet. She still has plenty to give, plenty to add. She's taking it very slowly. She is not rushing the process. She said, it's only 2011. I have all next year. I have to be smart about it.
She said some bad Olympic luck with those injuries.
Yeah, about as bad as it can get. She was a world champion when she was 15 years old on the uneven bars in 2003. Had a leg injury, took her out of 2004, and then does make the Olympic team in 2008. And as we said, a couple days before the event starts, she breaks a bone in her foot again.
She won this event on night 1, scored a 15.25. When I say won, she was the top scorer. A lot of intricate skills in this exercise.
And the first big one comes here, and it's a combination. She'll do a front flip with a half and then keep going.
Big time. Takes her time.
Yeah, she's calm. She's calm, and she doesn't ever panic.
Thoughtful, exact.
Big one right here. Arabian front.
Wow. This is a skill coming up that she's known for. Very risky. An illusion turn. A little bit of a check. Her connections are all there. One last piece of gymnastics, her dismount. Consistency, wow. She's a tough, tough athlete.
Got in, Coach Andy Memmel. About as nice a guy as you'll ever meet. But I'll tell you, he himself marvels at Chelsea and her ability to focus and concentrate and not block everything else out.
Shawn Johnson on the vault.
This was one of the areas where Sean commented after the first day of competition. She was absolutely thrilled that she performed this vault and stood it up, did it as well as she did.
See that left knee taped. Really, where Sean has the biggest trouble is on her run. Sometimes she doesn't look like she is able to generate enough speed. But this is better than night one.
She is just getting better and better with every workout competition.
Actually twisted a little bit early off the table night one. This was a little bit better. She was able to block her body up in the air. Ends up taking a pretty large step, but I like that one a lot better.
Ultimately, we all have to answer the question, how old is too old? For most, it's 65. Maybe if you're a baseball player, 35. Here, 21, 22, 19. It's an unnaturally young age to have to answer that question, but that's what's happening.
Now, this vault is valued out of 5.8, considerably lower than what we'll see from Jordan Weber. A little bit offside.
She travels to the side. That'll be only a 1/10 of a point. If she landed on the other side of that white line, it would have been a more severe deduction.
Definitely a spring to the step of Shawn Johnson. We've concluded the first rotation. We'll check the standings after this, live in St. Paul. It's a cool game being displayed so far here in St. Paul, Minnesota by the 16-year-old from Michigan, Jordan Weber. She still has the lead after the first rotation, but she gave away a 10th to Alexandra Raisman. Michaela Maroney slides in front of Chelsea Memel, who had a 14.75. Shawn Johnson not involved here, not in the all-around, not on floor exercise, a 14.55 on the vault for her. Welcome back, Al Troutwig, Tim Daggett, Elfie Schlegel, and Andrea Joyce, who we'll hear from in a moment. So we will have most likely a new national champion here tonight, but bigger picture, we're also going to get a world championship team out of this competition that will represent the United States in Tokyo in October. What's that team going to look like and be made up of?
Well, you know, there are going to be some all-arounders that are certainly going to be on that team. At this point, Jordan Weber, she would really have to get hurt to not be on that team. And then you got someone like Rebecca Brush. She has struggled here, but she is a veteran. I can't imagine a team not consisting of her. But also there are some specialists that are going to make it in there because of their great events.
And Allie Raisman is one of those other athletes, because at this point in time, with the problems that happened on night one, I think Marta is really focused on this young lady because she does what Allie Raisman does so well, and that is just go in, do your routines, be consistent, hit. You need a little bit of that mix on your team as well.
It's going to be really interesting to see what Marta Caroli does with the big three, too. Now, we're going to go to our leader in a moment. That is Jordan Weber. And if you want to answer the question about how competitive she is, let's get an answer from Andrea Joyce.
Very competitive. You know, Al, this may be her very first senior nationals, but Jordan Weber has been showing an incredibly fierce competitive streak for a very long time. We take you all the way back to 2002, second grade, DeWitt, Michigan, the President's Physical Fitness Challenge. Remember that? Well, little Jordan went out there and did more push-ups than anybody, girls or boys. She did 125 of them, broke the record. And the funny thing is that she remembers it like it was yesterday. I asked her what on earth would possess a 7-year-old to do something like that. She just got this big grin and said, I just really wanted to win. Some things you just can't teach, right, Al?
Yes, that's right. Certainly when you take on the best from Russia and win, as she did in the American Cup earlier this year, that shows you something.
There's no question about it. And this is a great event for her. She's an all-around gymnast that also can pull off that 16.5 vault called an Aminar. Very, very good.
Remember, this vault is worth a 6.5.
Just the step on the landing, that's about as clean and well done as I've seen her do.
So when you say 6.5, that means with a 10 execution, the best she can get is 16.5.
Very nice.
Thank you.
And there is the selection committee right in the middle. Of course, Marta Caroli, Steve Rybecki also on that committee, as well as former, well, she was the Olympic champion in 2008. We don't know if it's former at this point in time. Nastia Lukin, of course.
We are scheduled to talk to Nastia Lukin a little bit later. on the uneven bars, Alexander Reyes. What fun it was at the American Cup when essentially she had that home game. Just missed winning, but that was in Worcester, Massachusetts, so that was fun.
So this is one of the events that isn't really Allie's strength, but she continues to train and compete and not give it up because she is an all-around gymnast. But it might be an area where Marta Crowley says, yeah, we're not going to put you on this event for the World Championships, but she's a backup.
She's actually increased her difficulty. Needs to clean up just a little bit, but that was a very solid set for Allie Raceman.
Very quiet after going through the motions.
I tried to get the shooter.
Second part was way better.
Talk about how important the mental component is as she kind of takes that big breath afterwards there. But she has displayed from the very beginning of her senior career that she is one that can handle it.
This is Mackenzie Caquato from Illinois on the U.S. World Championship team last year. I can tell you that Weber got a 15.95. Nicely done there.
Mackenzie, of course, is going to be a sophomore at the University of Florida.
Yeah, that is a very big number. 15.95.
She'll take it.
Yeah, we saw 1:15.8 from Alicia. We also saw that 16.0 on the vault from Maroney.
Couldn't she be Shawn Johnson's sister?
It's amazing, right?
But what's important for Mackenzie on this event is it's not a high start value event for Mackenzie. She just needs to hit her routine, show consistency.
We keep talking about who's going to comprise that world team, and in a lot of ways it's like putting a jigsaw puzzle together, because you're going to have your veterans, your stars, and then you're going to have places where the team needs to be helped out, and one of them is the uneven bars, and that's a place where this young lady can shine. But as we've said over and over again, Marta Crowley likes to have a lot of choices, and a strong all-around performer like Mackenzie is capable of putting out is very attractive.
She is doing everything that she's being asked to do on this event. And by the way, she hit her bar routine. Already has that one completed. This is a great set.
A little bit weak on the dismount, but a very, very solid routine. Coach Johnny Wu, herself an Olympian, along with her husband, who also coached her from 1984.
Back to Rebecca Bross, and you always wonder, is there an emotional carryover from one routine to the next? But at this level, that just can't be.
You know, if there was a highlight from the first night of competition, it was the floor exercise, interestingly. This was an event where she really, really came through. You know, Marta Caroli said it best. She said what Rebecca needs to do tonight is get back to her old self. It's not about winning the national title.
Another very strong forward. Night one, she was second with a 14.85 to Jordan Weber's 14.9.
I can tell you Caquato got a 14.05 and Braisman got a 13.95. When we come back, we'll hear from Shawn Johnson. We'll see her as well, but she'll explain what has happened to her in the 3 years since Beijing as that team reunited for the first time since here in St. Paul. There's a different feel to Shawn Johnson in 2011. Adversity can do that to a person.
People have so many expectations on me to be exactly who I was in 2008. It had been about 2.5 years, and I hadn't even really thought about it. I'd been asked all the time, but I was like, oh, I'm not going to go back. I went skiing, took a fall, and tore everything in my knee. It was when I really thought, you know, gymnastics might not ever be able to be in my life again. It pushed me to go back in and give it one last shot.
Basically 3 years since she has put a leotard on and gone out onto the competition floor.
It's scary because I'm in it for that Olympic Games. I'm in it to experience it again, and knowing that one thing could be detrimental to the whole process it's intimidating.
Oh, no! Big skill.
That is something that never happens to her in competition.
I'm never going to be that 2008 Shawn Johnson because I'm no longer 16. I'm not that same girl. I'm different. If I make the Olympics again or Worlds, I'm going to be the new Shawn Johnson. I'll never be that old one.
Tim, your thoughts on what she said and whether she can ever land on that knee, not thinking about it ever again?
Well, you know, at the cover girl, the qualifying meet for this championships, she took this fall. This is her first event, first time in 3 years back to competition, and she had tweaked her knee, and she said that she just was so afraid that she was going to hurt it again. She wanted to lock out on that landing. It wasn't good, wasn't pretty. But 3 weeks later, she already looks like a different person. A lot more like the Shawn Johnson that we remember. You see perfect body landing position, chest upright, absorbing throughout her entire body through her legs.
And what struck me is Shawn notes that, you know, I'm not the same person that I was in 2008. People expect that of me, but what she hoped she did on night one of these Visa Championships is erase all the naysayers that were, oh no, she's not going to make it. And I think she did.
Here's a young lady to root for. This is Gabrielle Douglas from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Her dad is in Afghanistan for a third Middle Eastern tour, and he's hopefully found a way to watch his daughter perform here. Mom and sister, and you can tell the t-shirt says it all. I am Gabrielle's sister.
And I believe she's the one that told her mom, hey, you need to get this girl into gymnastics. She looks like a gymnast. I watch him on TV. She looks like that.
Gabby, of course, trains alongside Shawn Johnson, and this event is big for her. This is what she's known for.
There's her coach, Chow Liang. Also Shawn's coach. They trained together. And that was much nicer. As we're going to say, the U.S. is weak on the uneven bars. It's really where they gave up a ton to China in 2008. And this little one right here.
Yeah, that's what she wanted to show Marta.
Can get the job done. It was not like that at all. Night one. I talked to Chow Liang right before the competition. I said, is she a little less nervous? And he grins like he always does, and he goes, I hope so.
Nice to see.
Nice knees and toes. A little bit passed on that handstand, but right into this full twisting double somersault, the step forward, but a huge step forward in performance.
Family liked it. She said after the 2010 Pan American Games, she wanted to go big. She wanted to wow everyone. Maybe she did that for Marta. Okay, not bad.
Is that what it sounded like, Tim?
Yeah. Well, really, in a lot of ways, tonight has been the polar opposite of what we saw day one. It was so messy, and she was part of that. She looked frazzled and frantic, but so far, this has been what Team USA has looked like.
Marta said what she was going to find out tonight is who has the solid head and who has the butterflies.
I guess, Elfie, as you look at Liang Xiao, who's a busy man at an event like this, the U.S. selection committee has to decide young with some veterans, totally young with a year from the Olympics to get ready, or really rely heavily on the experience.
And there's just a little bit of room at these World Championships because it is a 6-athlete team, unlike London next year, where they go to the chopping board and take away one spot. There will only be 5 members on that U.S. Olympic team. So that's a very good question. I think the puzzle is slowly coming together for Marta and the rest of the selection committee.
And Gabrielle Douglas gets a 14.9.
And that is a very, very big number and will serve her well. It's a complete turnaround from night one where she was not good there.
Shawn Johnson is not figuring in the all-around national championship that comes here at the Visa Championships. She's only performing on 3 of the 4 apparatus. Alexandra Raisman has taken a big scoring hit in this second rotation, and Jordan Weber's lead looks like it's going to survive easily into the third.
Combination right into her release. Very nice.
This is what Shawn does so well. She's very neat and clean.
Awesome. Dismount, remember, this is where she struggled at the cover girl. Not night 1 and not night 2.
Boy, shades of Shawn Johnson of old coming back in a big way.
But Elfie, you heard she doesn't want to be the Shawn Johnson of old.
Well, she wants to be a little bit like the Shawn Johnson of old. Let me assure you of that. Because that Shawn Johnson was one of the toughest competitors you'd ever see. The bigger the moment, Shawn Johnson got bigger and better.
We used to just put our pen down and watch Shawn's performances. We somehow knew she was always going to hit.
But a lot of pressure on that knee coming down, and that one looked like it withstood it just fine.
It's an amazing thing. They take a tendon from somewhere in your leg and they put it where the ligament used to be, and then the body, cell by cell, tells that tendon to become a ligament. And it's
crazy.
A little mind-blowing when you think about it. Back to Chelsea Memel floor exercise. 4th place after the first rotation. She started the night in 3rd.
Chelsea said when she made her comeback, they were debating whether or not to have a new routine or not. She said, hey, listen, if I'm making a comeback, I'm going big. I want something new, nothing old. It's all out. There is some huge tumbling in this routine.
Primarily, she said she did not have the Olympic experience she hoped for. She was not able to help the team as much as she wanted. That has been behind this comeback.
says she loves her new floor team.
Good job,
That big smile was all you needed to see. We get set to move on as Shawn Johnson's score is a 14.25. We're heading toward crowning a national champion here tonight in St. Paul. Where does Nastia Liukin fit into all these plans? We'll find out next. So far as we bring you back live to St. Paul, Minnesota, it has been 16-year-old Jordan Weber and everybody else. Her lead is 3.75. That's huge. Meanwhile, Michaela Maroney and Chelsea Memmel are even. And that, of course, would be decided top three podium finish there. Not included in the standing Shawn Johnson or Alicia Sacramone because they're not competing in the all-around. Now, Chelsea Memmel, our comeback girl leadoff story here, improved by 7/10 from night one on the floor exercise. And Alicia Sacramone and Shawn Johnson are trying to factor into Marta Karolyi's plans for the World Championships in October. Now, this team that represented the United States in Beijing reunited here in St. Paul for the first time, and Shawn Johnson tweeted this week that it was weird. Another teammate who's thinking about the future, Nastia Liukin. She's with Andrea Joyce.
Al, so many memories rushing back as you watch those 2008 Olympians out here competing. Nastia, what about you? Do you miss being out there?
Oh, I definitely miss it. It definitely, makes me have some fire inside of me. And it's just so incredible to see three of my teammates back out there on the floor.
As you watch them, you have not closed the door on the possibility of yourself coming back. As you watch them compete, are you feeling a little bit of a nudge in that direction, a little bit of an itch?
Yes, definitely feeling an itch. And like I said, it's just so exciting to be able to see three of my Olympic teammates out there and definitely have some fire inside of me.
London, less than a year away. You know, in this sport, it's all about the numbers and the repetition. Do you feel like you have to make a decision soon, and is there time?
That's all I'm going to say about myself. The decision that we do have to make, though, is I'm on the selection committee now, so to make that world team.
Huge responsibility. Who have you liked out there?
There's so many girls out there this year, and I think that's so exciting for Team USA to send out there and really vie for that gold medal as a team.
Have there been any surprises for you? Anybody you've looked at and said, wow?
Jordan Weber, obviously, it's her first year at the senior national championships, and she's came out here and proved that she's the one to beat.
You've got a big job. I better let you get back out there and start watching everybody. Good luck with whatever you decide.
Thank you, Andrea.
Okay, Andrea, you're looking at the leader, and it's by a lot. Jordan Weber from Michigan. We'll see how she holds up knowing that she has a cushion like that in St. Paul after this.